You may have noticed that you are unable not to think. This is the common condition of every person in the world, more or less, unless he or she is awakened. Most people just don't even consider it as unnormal. They don't even notice it, unless that thinking becomes particularly unpleasant, either repetitive or has a particularly unpleasant edge to it. Then they may come to notice it more. Any other condition, including unpleasant, normal unpleasant, it's considered completely normal. But it's not. This does not need to be our life, because who we essentially are is made of silence. Thinking is a wonderful tool, but when it's incessant and we have no way to control it, it becomes a torture. We are not even thinking, it's happening. We just happen to be there and believe it as our reality. The question is, why is that the condition? If we are that essence, why do we need to be so lost in this endless thinking? And the reason is that because we are completely identified with the mind. We are identified with thinking, with thoughts, emotion, and perceptions. We don't know anything else. And that's the key. We don't know our deeper self. And in the absence of that deeper self, that true self, that soul, which is made of silence, we are bound to view our life through that constant movement. We are actually afraid that if that movement unconsciously, that if that movement will stop, we will die. We really want it, but we are afraid of it. And that is because in the absence, we have not known anything else other than our mind since we were born, and society, which doesn't handle that subject really, is directing its children to continue the normal living through the mind. That's the normal way. Nobody is sinister here. That's just what they know, what we know as a society, not as individuals. We have two sacred impulses operating inside us. Maybe more, but let's talk about these two. One is to have an identity, and the other one is to be well, to be happy. In the absence of our soul, we deposit this sacred job in the hands of our mind, the hands of our ego, which is the identity of the mind, the virtual identity. The result is a very painful condition, because the mind that is seeking to create an identity, all he has to work with, or the resources from which he will create that identity, is thoughts, emotions, and perceptions, and the accumulation of the infinite labels and memories we have got from us since we are born. The result is a virtual identity. There is some sort of a sense of self you can call me, but it's not based on reality. It's based on a certain virtual equation. This plus this plus this equals me. It's like a dot that, like when we were children, and there was this, well, when I was a child at least, when there was these paintings with dots, and then you connect it and you get like an elephant or something. This is the virtual identity of the ego. Okay, this is me, that's my family, that's my where I born, blah, blah, blah. This is my character, this is my memory. Okay, this is me. But it's not who I am. It's a hearsay. It's a second-hand identity, and it cannot hold. And that's why we find ourselves in a perpetual war of survival to keep it intact. That's what the ego does, because he knows it's unreal, it's virtual. And that's why we find ourselves so attached to people and situation and concept. Someone can argue with us on some silly thing, and we fight for dear life. And why? Because one of those dots is under threat, and the ego, thinks that this whole virtual thing will collapse if something is taken. And the same goes with thinking. It's based on the movement of the mind, meaning the ego, unconsciously of course, it's all unconscious, thinks that if this movement will stop, the thinking will stop, this identity will collapse. And what will happen then? Death. So we have no choice but to think. We resist it, we don't want it, but what we have at the beginning is only the ego. And it doesn't have any other option. We cannot even expect him to not think or want it. It means death for him. The solution, naturally, is to find our essence, to meet it. Because our essence, our true identity, is made of silence and well-being. Inherently. Nothing needs to happen or be removed for us to be well. This is just who we are as a soul. So the spiritual path on that level, we can say, is to discover an alternative, first to understand the problem, which is what we're doing, and then to discover an alternative, to discover something which is not of the mind, but watching the mind, a distance from it, the subject to the changing object. As we create that distance through methodical manner system practices, we gain a distance for the first time. We can replace this automatic impulse to react, think, and do whatever the mind is suggesting. We think it's us. To watching it, something new happens. And the culmination of this process is not just to create a distance between object and the subject, but to discover directly the subject. That's the first entry to becoming real, to know who we are as the silence. With time and as it grows, we go deeper into that sense of self, and we can even experience for the first time a state of no thinking. And that is because we feel ourselves so much, our field of consciousness so much with ourselves, that the mind is redundant. We don't need it there. It can be or not, it's less important. By this point, a massive transformation has happened. We have become real. But the grand prize of freedom, or rather the grand prize of the most simple thing there is, which is your natural state of reality, happens not when we think that this is a better option than the other one, or a deeper dimension, but when we simply have the insight, our deepest intelligence, very far from the gross mind, has an insight saying that this is simply what life is. This is who we are. It's not a better option. It's just how things are. We see things as they are. We see the real as real and the unreal as unreal. And the result is nothing less than a condition of unbreakable peace and joy, which is the inherent condition of our soul when it knows itself. It is completely doable, even though from the initial position it looks unattainable. It is. It is because this is our natural state. We don't need to traverse a desert to do it. We don't need to reach some sublime astral plane. We just need to see things as they are, and there is a way to do it.